Previously on Reboot It. You're fired.
I have a feeling this might be a long season.
Listen, guys, credits are overrated, okay? You need to get the hell out of my offices. You will never work for Jim Cameron.
Let The Rock get this straight. We have cracked out Vincent Gallo. We have two cops, the fat one from Stranger Things and the fat one from Family Matters. And you, what was your name again?
Swallow?
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Get the hell out of here and you never come back to the offices of Electric Pictures.
Roland, do you feel the same way? Maybe not.
Boys, I have a little known device.
Are we talking about illicit drugs?
I have a Stargate.
We should go to a world smart enough for our products? Is that what you're saying?
Fired from Subbasement D of a major motion picture studio. The development executives must go to the last places in Hollywood with money. Now streaming, Reboot It!
So, as you guys know, we have had a robust online campaign that has brought us to this point, and we are not leaving until we give you our Transformers pitch. We're not leaving.
Well, I gotta tell you, in my 50 years of running Paramount Pictures, this has never happened before. But times are changing. We're in a weird time. I'm gonna say I'll allow it. Gentlemen, I want to hear your pitch.
Cool. But like, first, we just need to get one thing out of the way, which is, who the hell are you?
I'm Robert Evans. I'm Kid Notorious himself, youngest studio head in the history of Hollywood. I produced The Godfather, Chinatown, Rosemary's Baby, discovered Coppola. I put him on that picture. I have been the head of Paramount Pictures for the past 50 years, and I am responsible for turning it into the #1 studio of all time.
Okay, cool. Well, we're here to tell you what the hell you should be doing with Transformers, and we're not leaving until you do every goddamn thing we say. Cool?
You work for us, okay?
We're fans. That's what you do. You are there to serve what we want.
I gave money to a billboard, so I get to basically tell you what to do. You know, like I got with a bunch of other people, we did a hashtag on Twitter, and now we're here. That just shows the power of the fans.
Yeah, it's very simple. You have like decades of comics and that animated film, the real Transformers, So,
Dude, let me jump in here. Where are the 13 primes, brah? Where are the 13 primes, the original primes? Primeless, Prima? Come on.
Excellent question.
I don't know what the hell any of you were talking about. None of this makes any sense to me, but I'll tell you something. I'm intrigued. I see a lot of me in you guys. You got moxie, you got spirit. I'm here for it. Let's hear what you have to say, because I'll tell you something. Those Michael Bay Transformers movies that I greenlit, one of the best decisions in the history of this studio.
Maybe best DVD to use as a coaster. That has nothing to do with the canon. And I am so sick and tired of this 4-quadrant bull crap. You can kiss all 4 quadrants of my butt. You don't even know what real Transformers is. We're fans.
We know cinema, right? Because we consume cinema and we know it better than any of these hacks. And let me tell you something, Robert Evans. Michael Bay is a hack. Okay?
Again, I'm just intrigued. I just want to see where this goes. Let's go, gentlemen. I'll be listening in. In the meantime, I've got some other things to keep myself busy with.
Okay, well, get ready to have your face melted off. So, first of all, I think we can all say that we're in agreement that the animated Transformers movie is pretty much the template on which we want to build this, correct?
I think that you just do that movie. You don't do it exactly the same, but you don't change anything. You do it, but different, but you don't change anything.
But
Yeah,
can we
the only
change?
thing that you change is like make sure that you show how amazing every single Transformer that's in the movie is right on the screen.
So I would say that you just start with the giant battle between Optimus and Megatron because that's what people want to see. So you just do it immediately. And honestly, that could probably go for like the first 30 minutes of this movie. Am I right?
Dude, but also let's just go back to basics and look at what makes Transformers cool. You gotta have the base colors just like the toy. Don't make it look any different than the toy, or else you're messing up, bruh.
Obviously, guys, let's talk shade of blue first, okay?
Yeah, azure, sky.
No, that's
I'm thinking Pepsi Blue is probably the right one. But here's the thing.
I do drink Pepsi because Pepsi is better than Coca-Cola. Because
I do the do, but here's the thing. Yeah. I'm going to stop this conversation if we start to get to the Shia LeBeoufs, the Mac Wahlbergs. I don't care about any of that. If you come to this movie and you're like, hey, I like Shia LeBeouf, then you can get out. Just get out. I don't want you. You don't deserve this movie. I deserve this movie.
There are robots in this movie, and that's all there is.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually. I'm kind of wondering, do we even need human actors, right? We probably don't. Because, like, again, if we're going to go by the template of the original animated movie, most of this action doesn't even take place on Earth, does it? I mean, that's the question.
I think we only need Orson Welles, and he's not doing anything now, so we just have to get him back, and I think we're cool.
Is he dead, though? Is he dead?
Well, like
no, he's the guy that puts out the popcorn. He's totally alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to collect our thoughts because number one, Orson Welles. Number two, right shade of blue. Number three, big battle up front. Okay. And literally, you could get like an hour of the movie just out of that.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, just don't. Guys, what is going on? What was that? What was that?
Dude, from what I can recall, that seemed like a Star Trek mirror universe type situation.
Like a Bizarro universe?
Are we still in the mirror universe?
Did that Stargate thing actually work? Is Emmerich has a working Stargate?
I think so.
Do you guys feel weird? I don't know.
I just my head's itching.
Whoa. That was kind of weird. Weird.
Oh.
Yeah, well, weird things happen when you're trying to make art.
Oh, that's true.
We
should just go with it, man.
I knew that Code Red Mountain Dew was probably expired. I should have checked the date, but whatevs. Like, it still tasted good.
Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, maybe that weird Code Red experience, we should use it. And maybe this is a cross. Do we do a Beast Wars Transformers crossover from the beginning? Is that how we're going to do this?
We're talking about a franchise. We're talking about pulling this out for years and years and years. Don't blow your load with Beast Wars right away. This Megatron Optimus fight, that's your first movie, is them fighting. Like, we don't need to complicate it.
Well, dude, I'm just feeling this story where like Optimus goes like undercover with a band of Decepticon soldiers.
No. That's not in the comics. I told you, if you're going to bring your own stupid ideas, you get out of here. I don't want it. All of it's there. This is like the Bible. I don't know why we're not just following the Bible of Transformers. You guys are stupid. God, get someone who knows something in here.
let's all just agree from the beginning that we are Transformers Generation 1 continuity, right? Not animated and not Prime, Generation 1. We're there, right? That's what we want.
Yes.
I don't know why we can't be really true to the game and just use the Japanese names like Truck Man and Robot Missile. I mean,
nobody wants Japanese things, okay? I'm sorry. No way, Jose, or should I say Josette for all you wokes out there. I don't want the Japanese names. It's Optimus Prime, or we're not doing it. Get out of here.
Dude.
Brian got me really upset when he said no Japanese things.
Sorry, Snowflake, but this is America. If you want Japanese things, go to Shanghai, okay?
Dude, you are a straight xenophobe, and I won't have that in the Transformers community.
You're not a real fan. Get out of here.
I am a real fan.
None of you here, except
guys,
Spitz, are real fans.
So where are they fighting then? Let's say where we're fighting. Are they on
Cybertron?
Cybertron?
God,
of course.
thank you. Is this guy even a Transformers fan? What is he talking about?
Idiot.
Okay.
I don't like your attitude.
Can I just go back to my pitch of it being the ocean of Cybertron, and there's like some bank robbing Transformers that surf on the ocean, and Optimus Prime has to go undercover. I just really think that's a good idea. I'm gonna just keep bringing it up because
They'll get rusted. They'll get rusted.
Bank robbers, they don't use money. This first movie is Optimus Prime and Megatron. That's the movie.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's
Should
all
we
it
also
needs to be.
maybe have Bumblebee?
I mean, if you want to start throwing in characters, but that's not what the movie's about.
Bumblebee?
Dude,
what are you talking about?
Dude,
You're right. I think we needed Sound Blaster.
You mean like Sound Wave? From
Not
Generation 1?
My
mom got me the
Get
cheap
out of
one.
here,
I believe it
Spitz.
was
I
Sound Blaster.
vouched for you, and it's clear you're just reading Wikipedia. You're not a real fan. And fanboy crybaby over here, you need to get on the same page, okay? I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make a Transformers movie for the fans. For people like me who have dedicated their entire lives to this, this is the movie we deserve. And stop mucking it up. I think we all have one thing that we agree. Optimus Prime versus Megatron. Everything else can get out of here. It's not needed. Optimus Prime versus Megatron. That's the movie. That's the poster. That's the movie. The poster is the movie.
Yeah.
You know what? That's good. So nobody's ever done this before. 2.5 hours of nothing but one fight scene. We could almost do it. We could almost do it as an unbroken take that starts on Cybertron, goes across the universe to the moon, and then ends up on Earth where they could fight across every country.
I think when they go to the galaxy and to the planets, we fight on every single planet that there is, and then they end up on Earth, but then they go back to Cybertron, and then a post-credit scene, Rodimus Prime. That's how we set up the next movie. It's just a big fight, and then at the end, you're like, oh, Rodimus is in the next one. Buy my ticket now.
So does... Guys,
bro. Chills.
Does this movie end with the death of Optimus Prime, just like the end of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, where you kill your main character so you can then have the giant resurrection evil scene in the sequel?
That's the kind of depth that they were missing from the other Transformers movie. Is you kill Optimus Prime, but you don't kill him. It's the resurrection. That's what makes it powerful.
I totally agree with you guys, and I think it's a format that's never been seen before.
Okay, guys, I'm going to call Robert Evans right now. Is he still on the line?
Gentlemen, I've been on the line the whole time. I've been listening in. And good Lord, this is some of the most genius concept work I have ever heard in my 50 years in this business. I am energized by this pitch. My God, I feel alive. I'll tell you what. I need you all to sit down and put it in writing. Give me a page and a half of pure fire. I'm going to take this directly to our investors. I am going to requisition $300 million. And listen, all you need to do is tell me who's going to star in and direct this thing. Because baby Evans is all in on this Transformers reboot. Get back to me in about an hour. I'll see you then, gentlemen.
We love you, George Hamilton. We love you.
Guys, I think that went just about as well as it could have gone. And here's the thing. I mean, if all we have to do is come up with a director, I think we all know who that director should be, right? I mean, say it with me. Here we go.
Bill, turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!
Control it!
Turn it off!
I think it's stabilized. I think it's stabilized.
Are we still there?
Where's here? Where are we? I don't. Wait. We got to think about this. Did we just talk to Robert Evans?
Yeah.
But he was the head of the studio. He's not working anymore.
Robert Evans is dead.
That's why he's not working anymore.
Yeah.
I thought it was George Hamilton, so I wasn't.
It's hard to work when you're
all.
dead. You thought it was George Hamilton?
Guys, tan.
It's a good point.
Did he just greenlight our movie though?
Yes.
The only thing I heard or that I remember was just a whole movie about Optimus Prime versus Megatron. That's it. That was the pitch.
I swear to God, he said he loved it. I don't think I'm making this up. I'm pretty sure Robert Evans, the head of Paramount, just told us he's greenlighting a $300 million Transformers movie that we just pitched him. That was just a 4-hour fight scene between Optimus Prime and Megatron.
So a little bit of a rock and a hard place because we have not had one sale yet. But that is not a movie, my friend. I don't know what to do.
I mean, realistically, there's no way that we can put that on film and then expect more than the 200 fans who want to see that show up to that movie. Like that, even in a mirror universe, there's no way that'll work.
Well, hold on. He's going to call back, right? So maybe we could tell him that we fleshed the pitch out before then, and maybe we can somehow make that work and still make the sale.
Let's try it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I vote for that because, even in an alternate universe, I don't want to waste all that work.
And look, arguably, I think you can say like that each fight scene is cut between a bunch of different things that happen that add gravitas to it, that add theme and character. What do you guys think?
I don't know. We never even talked about what this movie's about. It's just a fight. I feel like we got to start somewhere, right?
Okay. All right. So first of all, have any of you guys seen anything Transformers related? Because I have to be completely honest. I have not seen a single episode of the cartoon, a single movie, or the animated movie that everybody seems to love. I know nothing about this. In fact, when I was a kid, I kind of thought it was the dumbest of the triumvirate of He-Man / Thundercats, G.I. Joe, and then Transformers over here. This was the one I had the least interest in.
Well, I've seen the Bayformer movies, at least 3 of them. I really liked the first one. I've seen a smattering of the cartoon, the original one. I haven't seen any of the new ones, and I've seen the animated movie. So I'm a 5 out of 10 on the knowledge scale.
Yeah, I'm probably close to that as well. I played with the toys once I could eventually afford them. Mostly I played with Legos that I turned into Transformers and called Optimus Prime. But, you got to live the best life you can live with what you got, right? So then But I did see that. And one time, you guys, I won this contest, or at least I was supposed to win this contest where I get a Unicron. They never sent me the Unicron.
A real contest?
So not
It
only
wasn't like your mom just made it up to just like make you happy and get her out of her face.
No, I solved a problem. I sent it out through the post office. I pulled weeds to get those Post-it stamps.
Ron, are you sure you don't want to go back to your mirror universe life?
I think I might, honestly. I think he was happier.
I think I had a really cool hat, so
He did. So you guys, but yeah, I've seen a good amount of the cartoon, and I've definitely seen the animated, and I've seen most of the newish movies that have come out, and I actually really liked Bumblebee.
Bumblebee was great.
Yeah, fair enough. Ed, what's your knowledge?
Watched the old school movie, watched the cartoon a bit, had some Transformers, not a whole bunch to make Ron think that I was rich. But and also I saw the Bayformers movies. I very much liked the first one. All the rest of them had more and more problems, and even the first one had some problems, the death of Jazz and all this kind of jazz. So yeah, I think the Transformers are an action concept, and that's about all I'll commit to.
Fair enough. So, all right, let's get it out of the way. What is Transformers about? I know generally that it's some sort of war between two alien races that can turn into trucks and planes and such. I can't speak to this because I have no knowledge. Can you guys give me a sense of like what's the theme? What does this really address? Anything?
Well, they're at war with either the Autobots or are at war with the Decepticons, and they are needing energon cubes, I believe, so that they can continue to live, as far as I understand, and also because something like there's got to be there's some kind of MacGuffin, and I can't remember what it is. Maybe Ed remembers that when you get hold of that, it gives you the extra power and ability to lead.
That's the Unispark or something, right? The Allspark?
Yes, the Allspark, if I'm remembering correctly. So
really, this could be a story sort of about scarcity and resources in a weird way. Does that track? Like the Autobots want to use limited resources to spread good, and the Decepticons are greedy and want to use it to spread evil, or is that way too simplified?
I mean, no, I think there's different variations too, because the part that I remember the most is, or at least having watched the first movie and then I watched some of the cartoon that I thought was interesting, was the movie makes it seem like the Transformers are fighting this war and they come here and they just so happen to make Earth kind of where they're going to fight next, which kind of is crappy. But in the cartoon, they came back like in the dinosaur times, and they've just been like hanging out like forever. And they transform not because it's like awesome. It's because they have to like blend in for the humans. So I don't know. I was telling Ed before we went on the air that I thought what was kind of cool about Transformers is like how they were created. It was like created by this alien race that was just kind of like, let's do an experiment and see what happens. And then Cybertron happens. They're like, never mind, this is kind of lame. And then they leave. And I was like, what if you just did like Prometheus, but Transformers and make it not suck?
It's not a bad pitch, dude. I mean, I always wondered about that. And so you're saying that like the Dino Wars or Beast Wars Transformers are essentially just Transformers before there were cars and planes to disguise themselves as?
Don't take my word for it, but I believe that's correct.
Even in the Bayformers, they had this jazz where they went back and they talked to Merlin and all this stupid stuff. So they Transformers being part of Earth's history and evolution in a secret way, like, oh, this Model T transformed and kicked a bootlegger out a window. You know what I'm saying? I think they have that sort of stuff.
It's just you're right. I think it's just weird because that first movie posits that they have never been there before, and they're like, Earth is our new home. And then 5 movies in, it's just like, is it? Because I have a lot of relatives here.
Yeah. Let me read you the fandom overview just so you can see it. Is the cartoon, along with the Marvel comics, set up the basic story of Transformers that most other incarnations were to follow. Two warring factions of robots on the planet Cybertron leave in search of resources. The factions crash land on Earth, and millions of years later begin their battle anew in Reagan-era America and across the globe. And then, of course, each episode is basically them getting in a fight with the Decepticons, and then the Decepticons run off having been defeated. And then every once in a while they introduce a new robot that either the Decepticons are trying to get a hold of to control or something along those lines. They do another fight, then bam. So that's the basic idea of the cartoon. There was no through line in this cartoon, by the way. The first, I want to say the first 2 seasons had no through line. Every episode was a standalone episode. So,
well, I mean, so then I guess that brings us to, if the story we're telling, God help us, is a 4-hour never-ending fight scene that takes us from the Transformers homeworld to other planets to Earth and then back to Cybertron, maybe the best way to do this is to literally have this movie take place over tens of millions of years. Like, start with the creation of the Autobots and the Decepticons, see that battle, and then essentially our act break becomes they get trapped in time or they hit Earth, they kill the dinosaurs, and then it takes them forever to wake up. You know what I mean? Like, do we just have a giant battle prologue just to get from Cybertron to Earth?
Well, okay, this is what I have to say to that. I'm yes-anding that. 4 hours, each hour, and it's going to be a big fat thing. Screw them. They got to watch this whole thing. So it's like 4 hours. The first hour, is Cybertron to Earth, basically, or Cybertron to another planet. Then off of that planet to Earth. Then like the fourth movie is set in the future, and the third movie set in the present, sort of thing. Just divide it like that, and like we're getting these hour-long glimpses of an unending war. And we get to see different characters pop up. Other characters are broken down and tore up. Other characters are transformed to a new form, whatever. And we could I think that's interesting, kind of.
And I would argue in the realm and the way we do things, what if it ends with them actually sitting down and after a big fight and just being like, what are we doing? Why don't we share this?
Guys, I am loving this, but full disclosure, I do have a kid to feed, so we got to take a quick commercial break and make a little cash, so we'll be right back. I would love if this could be, the first real explanation of like, why are you fighting? Like, why is there so much beef between you guys? Were both made by the same crazy alien race that had 5 faces, like. You guys have, this sounds really cliche and almost corny, but it's like you guys have more in common than you do differences. So why are we fighting? Like that tends to kind of be glossed over, but that could be, if you have stakes and you know why there's like emotions on both sides, like a fight is going to not feel as draining if there's something behind it.
Yeah. Can I proffer this? I had read a comic, maybe Joe Starr put me onto it, but yada, yada, yada. The Decepticons started being sort of terrorist seditionists. In one version of the Transformer stuff, the Decepticons turned Decepticon, as in I'll deceive you, I'll make a secret cabal, I'll mess up society, because more or less there was like a robot caste system or something like that, and they weren't down with it. Like they made you be this certain function. If you were a microscope, you had to be a damn microscope. You couldn't be like, well, since I have the power to transform into anything I want. No, you are a microscope. Now, oh, hey, what's up? You get to be a big truck with missiles and stuff. Come on in here, daddy. I love you, man. And get out of here, microscope. You know what I mean? And they made people live that life, like a Gattaca of freaking robots. And that started their basic war. I'm not saying we have to get that deep, but along those lines, something to where there's something meaty for the Decepticons to like believe.
Be angry about. Besides
evil.
Well, I think there's a lot of mileage to treating this story as a little bit of an AI story. Like if this alien race, to Billy's point about doing the Prometheus thing, if this alien race is a super advanced society that creates, independently intelligent AI, maybe the beginning of the Transformers is essentially like the technological singularity for this alien culture, where like these things become self-aware. They realize that they can improve themselves better than their creators can improve them. I know that the stories in the comics talk about Optimus Prime wielding the creation matrix, which is essentially a MacGuffin that gives life to machines. Maybe that's where we start, right? Like the machines develop their own technology to improve themselves, and that sets us off on this thing of like, you know, the Autobots trying to fulfill their function and the Decepticons sort of rejecting the very concept of a function. It's a little bit of the Wachowski's Matrix, right? Like once you create something that's intelligent enough to have human level intelligence, you can no longer presume that you can just give it a function and it'll be okay with that. So that's, I mean, to me, that feels like a meaty place to start this. I don't know how that immediately launches into a universe spanning battle. That's where I feel like we almost need to take this to, God help us, Zack Snyderville, where it just becomes operatic, Durmanstrong. You know, it's like, what is there something as simple as like Optimus Prime makes a decision that kills Megatron's proto-robot family, right? Where it's just very simple, easy to understand stakes that's going to kick off this giant never-ending battle.
And then, well, what if someone steals the creation matrix and then takes off with it, and their purpose is to let robots be free?
Is Cybertron, I like that, Ron, and let me just ask this. Is Cybertron supposed to be the homeworld of the alien race that created the Transformers, or is Cybertron a totally different thing?
I think they created Cybertron.
Yeah.
And then they left.
So this is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say they created their own society, basically.
Well, right. And so Cybertron...
I just want to clarify real quick. They, meaning the aliens who made the Transformers, made Cybertron. The Transformers themselves did not make their own planet.
Right. I got that.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and so I guess what I'm saying is there's something really interesting to, like, Cybertron could kind of be anything we want it to be in the context of our movie. And what if Cybertron, you know, I'm just trying to think of like Cybertron evolves into a robot planet. Like what sort of path can it take, or what are the implications of that? You know, you shoot a robot probe into the sky, and then it just starts building, and it just keeps building and building. Maybe Cybertron has like devoured other planets for the raw material, or stars for the raw material. Go ahead.
Let me yes and that. Okay. In certain conceptions of the Transformers lore, there was the prime planet, which is Cybertron, and there was Unicron. And there were two planets. So like the one was a planet of like order and everything's doing what it needs to do. And it's like Robotopia. And then one planet is like the seething, you know. And I just think, let's get real stupid, guys. I don't want us to get in the weeds. So this is my real stupid suggestion. The Autobots are chilling out on their planet. They've had their own wars. They went through Bronze Age where they wore togas and stuff. They did everything. It could be so many funny scenes. We'll do with that what you will. But the bottom line is, when Cybertron comes, Cybertron is, or rather, Unicron is the planet that comes back to Cybertron and says, I will initiate a caste system. You can't have robot poets anymore. You can't have any of this crap.
Ooh.
We're going to be a war machine and we're going to go kick some ass. So get with the program. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I didn't know I didn't have a function. So yeah, I'll get down with you. And other people are like, dude, no, we must, even as soldiers, it must be our will or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just go with that. Real dumb, but I think it's real simple.
That's not dumb.
I'm with that. I'm with that completely. I'm actually reading sort of a Jack Kirby New Gods thing into this, where it's like Unicron is Apocalypse and Cybertron is New Genesis. And it's essentially, we can almost take the plot of the Masters of the Universe movie, right? Where if Unicron wins in space at the beginning of our movie, then that gives the Autobots a reason to sort of traverse the cosmos, essentially on a mad dash with the creation matrix in their possession to find other developed planets where they could essentially evolve their technology enough to grow the ranks of the Autobots. That's kind of dope. Like, if the whole idea is that Unicron has militarized all of the Transformers kind, then the Autobots are this faction that is split off, and they're searching the cosmos for other intelligent technology that they can empower with the creation matrix to join their ranks to build up to the war. Does that track?
Yeah, I like that.
I haven't heard it in any Transformers lore, which is why a bunch of the comments will say they don't like it. But I think it's the essence of what the Transformers are about. Go from planet to planet, different environments. Each environment provides a different challenge for me to assimilate with and transform into. They make indelible marks on different planets as they traverse the universe. All that tracks with Transformers.
There's also something interesting, and maybe it's just interesting to me and it wouldn't make sense in this movie, but it's like if you have the creation matrix and you're going around to different planets to basically, evolve other species to a point where they could be like you. Like, isn't that kind of what we did with like the Crusades? Like, didn't we pretty much push our, or not our, but pushing the Christian religion on everyone? And if you didn't, you kill them. Like, there is something kind of like, I get like the way we're pitching it sounds very heroic, but it's interesting to me that the first thing that popped into my head was like, well, what if you go somewhere that they don't want to, like being evolved is not a thing that's like what they want to be,
I kind of love the idea that Optimus Prime is bringing the gospel of the Allspark to these different worlds. There's something,
and there could be some
to that.
Yeah, there could be some political stuff in that too. If you think about it, like maybe the name Autobots is actually an insult from Decepticons. Like literally Unicron's like from here on forth we will be known as Decepticons. We will infiltrate planets. We will take over. We will make their lives better, and they don't even know they need it better. Like that sort of thing. And then the Autobots are they're just bots. They're just auto. They don't do anything. They don't think. They're not creative. They're not willing to go take care of what needs to be taken care of. They're just Autobots.
I mean, you could kind of flip it
in that name.
Taking to what you're talking about, Ron. Like, you could kind of flip it a little bit, and it's like, what if? Look, Transformers fans are throwing stuff at their screen right now. But what if this? What are we calling it? This giver lifer cube thingy, whatever.
The creation matrix.
The creation matrix. What if it's not just one? What if it's not like a one MacGuffin that everyone's chasing after? What if it's just an ability or it's something that's like bountiful, and both the Decepticons and the Autobots are both going to other planets, and the Decepticons are the ones that are like, I don't care, I'm going to turn the stapler sentient whether it likes it or not, and kind of the existential crisis of like things that should never have meant to exist in that way existing, versus the Autobots who are trying to, it's the evangelicals versus, kind of like the crazy zealots. And it's like, look, so
that immediately makes me think of when they do get to Earth, then the Decepticons essentially want to turn on Skynet on Earth, right? The Decepticons are here to evolve our technology to a hyper intelligent level, and the Autobots are here to stop that from happening. And there's something kind of interesting to your point, Billy, about like, well, the Autobots then are really fighting to hold back the pace of technology. They're really fighting to like dumb down.
Well, it's Star Trek. It's the prime directive. Yeah. You don't go and interfere with someone's culture. Like, you just don't do that. And I already know they did something with the life giver cube in the second Transformers. It was dumb and they didn't do it right. So whatever we're pitching is better by default. So you can delete your comment.
Yeah, but and also though, the whole thing about why the Transformers are on these different places, I do think we need to add a refugee element to the Autobots, because frankly, the Autobots are the only soldiers that get pushed into being soldiers, which is why they're special. They're not just another faction of people fighting for anything. They were trying to get their religious freedom. and they went away. And then people kept coming and messing with them. It's like if the American myth were true. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's an interesting thing to play with these guys. Like they just wanted to go be by themselves and make their little utopia and not actively oppress worlds. That's all they wanted to do. And now they're pressed into service because they are the only things in the universe that can fight this force. And that's why they have to marshal their people.
You do get a good amount of planet hopping then if the beginning of the movie is essentially Unicron and the forces of the Decepticons taking over Cybertron, Optimus Prime and his pilgrims fleeing, and now they're on whatever that planet is. I mean, that could even be a potential setup for future movies. You know, we spend 20 minutes on this other planet where they have taken refuge and are essentially hiding out. And it's sort of a reverse beginning of Avengers Endgame where it's like they're just there chilling, but then the Decepticons find them, raise their society that they've built over whatever million years that they've been there. And now we're on the run again with these even more crazy, powerful Decepticons coming after us. And then we're on Earth.
Dude, and that thing about the whole Beast Wars of it all. At some point, either on an alien planet, maybe the people are throwing stuff at their screen now. No, it's got to be on some in the cartoon. It was on some other planet, but they just happen to have tigers and apes and bears.
Well, I think that it was a long running thing where they thought that they were on another planet, but it turned out to be prehistoric Earth. And
yeah. So I think we could end up doing that Beast Wars thing and in earnest. Like the Transformers are having a good time on Cybertron, being sleek looking robots and stuff, and they get here and they become these pretty damn good but not quite great facsimiles of all the flora and fauna. I mean, it really have it be cool. Have the Unicron infected Decepticons coming down and becoming pterodactyls and jazz. I mean, let's get nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, could we include other like aliens on those planets, or is it just the life of just a random beasts on the planet? Like it's almost like a non-evolved Earth type of thing. I don't know. It just adds a little bit of scariness to the Decepticons to know that they just go and conquer whatever life is on that planet, as well as trying to chase down.
I think what makes it interesting is they're not in their minds. They're not conquering. They're converting for your own benefit. And I think that's what makes a Decepticon finally like
deceiving.
Because it's like, why would you not take our technology? We're here to make you better. Like what you are is unevolved. Like why would you not do this? And I think, so I do think that there would be aliens that or other creatures, whatever they would be, that we would encounter, because you just have to have that kind of interaction. Like if it's just a bunch of, if it is a stapler, no one's going to care, Yeah.
And then we still get our previously approved fight through multiple planets and through, the galaxy or universe.
But it is. This is like, when we were originally hearing our worst crew talk about what they wanted to do, it felt to me like, do you ever see that movie Duel, where it is just like a 2-hour, it's Spielberg's first movie. Trucks? It's like Duel, where it kind of is just like a 2-hour, just not a lot of dialogue, just chase. But it's like, I feel like that's what this movie has to be. It has to have almost like Duel or like Infinity War, like that kind of, like, it has to be a chase. Like everything, this movie has to feel like they're always on our heels and we can't stop moving.
And that the whole point is, obviously at some point in the Beast Wars days in the past of prehistoric Earth, the Autobots had some sort of victory, or they both annihilated each other or whatever. Something happened to cause that pause that allowed us to evolve without their influence. That's just a matter of fact. If we live on Earth and it's like this instead of Cybertron, something happened. And I just think what you said, Billy, when they wake up from that, or however way you want to render that, it's right back to fighting. It's like, oh, guys, like Kyle Reese waking up in an alley. Where am I at? What am I doing? Oh, yeah, I'm chasing. It's like that moment in Memento where he's like, am I chasing him or is he chasing me? We're already fighting. It's already happening. It's even after 1,000 years sleep, you have to get right back to fighting. I think that's sort of interesting.
Do we want the sort of middle portion to actually take place on prehistoric Earth, or should we come up with a totally alien planet for the Beast Wars stuff to be happening on?
I'll weigh in and say I don't care. I'll weigh in to say I don't care.
And I'll weigh in and say that I want another planet just because I think it's fun.
I kind of agree with that, Ron. I think that it would be really interesting for us to just sort of create an entire intelligent alien civilization just to see how these Transformers would sort of like disguise themselves, be a part of it. And then it also gives us something to completely annihilate in sort of the most cataclysmic Transformers battle you've ever seen. That's not Earth. So it's like you sort of get the effect of, Transformers destroying Earth like it's 2012, another Roland Emmerich joint. But we don't actually have to destroy the Earth. It's almost more like, you know how like the first 20 minutes of There Will Be Blood sort of gives you a justification for how much of a bastard Daniel Plainview is for the rest of that movie, just because you see like how awful the stuff he goes through is. I'm almost saying we do that, right? Like you create an alien civilization just to kill it, just to up the stakes for like when they get to Earth, this is how bad things might be. I don't know. I think that could be an interesting, and again, it pads it. So whether this is going to be a 4-hour style Snyder cut or whether this is going to be 4-hour long, multi-part mini-series movie. Yeah, whatever it's going to be for Paramount Plus, assuming Paramount Plus exists in this reality.
I mean, I assume it does.
Someone's buying this. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So we have no human characters. That's the one thing that I know our doppelgangers were super into. Can we honestly sustain that if this movie is just going to all be, I mean, it sounds like this movie starts with Optimus Prime. It's essentially the beginning of Man of Steel, where Optimus Prime is fending off Zod/Megatron's attack and then has to flee the planet.
Well, I would argue that the first hour and maybe even hour and 10 minutes is the story of Optimus Prime being foisted into a leadership role and accepting the Matrix or whatever. And then from that point, he's Optimus Prime and blah, blah. But like, we've never got the chance to see somebody. You're right about the Man of Steel thing. You're absolutely right. But I'm saying even like I was an Autobot farmer and then they came and told me I had to fight a bunch of people and I'm big and strong, but I just want to be on my farm, and oh no, I'm drawn into it. I'm drawn into it.
Can we do Gladiator and just have Optimus wave his hand over some wheat?
Yes, absolutely. I'm serious business. The first hour and 20 minutes is Gladiator with Optimus Prime, and he gets his merry band of dudes. His merry band of dudes that survived that first purge. The dudes who survived, his good buddy who's a big rolling machine and his fast buddy who's slick. And these guys got out of that first purge. And that's why they're the clan of Autobots that we're going to follow for the rest of the movie. And that's why we care at all. And when they die going through this giant long runtime, we're going to care.
Yeah, it's Braveheart. I gotta one up Gladiator. It's it's literally the first hour of Braveheart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe is this movie animated? Is this a 3D animated movie? I mean, it feels like that's the right choice given that all of our characters are going to be non-human. And that isn't to say that it's super stylized, but maybe we just commit to this being a 100% CG movie.
I guess I don't have a problem. I don't know. You do lose something with it not being live action, and I get it. Live action in quotes. It's like Lion King live action, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sold.
Lion King live action is actually a good touchstone, where it's essentially photo real CG.
Yeah, I think that's where that's essentially what we got to by the end of those Transformers movies.
And I'd argue that, like, I think a lot of people want that part.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Like, arguably. I think it's good to have it be. Look, on the other hand, my argument for maybe it being a cartoon is that if you think about how weird the animated Transformers movie was and how crazy it was to everyone that they killed Optimus Prime in that right at the beginning, and how bananas that movie is, it as bananas as what we're talking about might be more accepted if it was animated.
But here's the thing, and I know I could just hear his voice in my head. My doppelganger would be very upset. That animated movie did not do well. It bombed, and it didn't hit a big target, like a big audience. And I think this one, I think there is some Transformers movie fatigue. I think the box office results of Bumblebee, which I really enjoyed, but I think by that point, people are just tired of it. So it's like, if we're going to give them another one, I would want to lay it out a little bit cleaner and be like, this is what a live action Transformers movie can be. And that would be my argument about.
And just to give Bumblebee some props too. Bumblebee was, for a lot of 40-year-old guys getting that first gray hair in their chest, that was their just cry in the movie theater moment. It was on Cybertron. You saw them interact as robots in an all robot world. You saw them fight. It was pretty decent. And then they went to the beach with a girl and they hung out for a while, and then John Cena came. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, so like, if we could give them 4 hours of the beginning of Bumblebee, if you don't like that, you're dumb and you don't like Transformers, honestly.
But I kind of tend to side with what Bill had said way back earlier, which is like, I tend to take the opposite of this argument 9 times out of 10. But this would be the one time where I'm like, let's try to make it operatic. Like, you might as well, like, we've already seen the like self-deprecating, like John Cena be like, how did you not know their name is Decepticons? Like, okay, we've already rolled our eyes at this. It's like, if we try to give it some pathos and treat it like a real mythology, it could be kind of cool, you know?
I agree with that, man. And I think leaning into, I think you said it, Billy, like the religious overtones of what these two sides are doing. I think that's part of it. I love the idea of like, if the first hour of the movie is essentially aping Braveheart, and the second hour of the movie is essentially aping, you know, some sort of harrowing genocide drama, and then the third and fourth hours of the movie are just like, hell has come to destroy Earth the way you just saw it destroy this other planet, and we will not go gently into that good night, says Bill Pullman. You know, like, you just have to sort of take all of these incredibly over-the-top, cheesy, not even cheesy, but just sort of like unrealistically grand story elements and just commit to them with 100% fidelity. I mean, it gets you something interesting. I don't know if it's like super edifying. I don't know if you're going to like get a lot out of it on an intellectual level, but it could be an experience. That's for damn sure.
I just had a set piece in mind when I was thinking about Transformers. Is like, I just want like one Transformer to show up in a junkyard, and it's almost like the Old West, and there's just crap everywhere, and you have no idea what is a Transformer and what is just junk. And it turns into like this like kind of thriller suspense moment of like, every turn you make, like, is that really like an old broken down car, or is that like a Transformer hiding ready to pop out?
It's kind of, I mean, you could sort of make, if we're gonna actually do a 4-hour never-ending battle movie, just by definition, you almost have to make every beat of that movie stylistically different. So there's a sequence that's a war sequence. There's a sequence that, to Billy's point, is sort of like a slasher horror sequence. There's a sequence that's like The Great Escape, right? Where it's like, we have to find a clever way to get out of this or escape these guys. There's a sequence that's like bare knuckle brawling, like super hardcore Optimus versus Megatron. All these other Transformers have fallen around them, and it's like Rocky versus Drago. There's another sequence that's all like aerial combat, like almost like a Star Wars movie. You kind of have to cram all of that into this one movie.
All right, we got to do one more commercial break before we get any further, so let's go ahead and do that right now.
Almost like Les Miserables, you know, where it's like you're following multiple generations of the same family as they go through this horrible turmoil, but it's robots. Like,
it's like Rocky.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, it's like if we had to watch Rocky's grandparents come over from the old country and punch meat until they had him in 1948. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess it is kind of like the Skywalker saga in a sense. We start with the father going all the way through the sequel trilogy, whereas, that's the history of the Skywalkers. I almost see this as like the history of the Autobots, like how it started and how Optimus Prime became this like legendary general or whatever he is.
Well, and here's a question. Like, do we need to have humans in this? And if we're going to because obviously Earth, they're going to be on Earth and we have to have some kind of human element. Is the human element the idea of randomness, the idea of like Bruce Lee's concept of no-mindedness, which is like when you're fighting, you don't actually do any of the fighting until the fighting is happening. You're not thinking about the punch. You're not planning that punch. You're doing it because one body reacted and you have to react the specific way that needs to happen for that specific moment. What if human ingenuity and lack of logical ability is the thing that puts Optimus Prime over in the fight?
There's something super interesting about that. How would you see that playing out? Even just like a scene of that, what would that feel like? I mean,
the first thought I had, which I think is not a good thought, but it's the first thought I had, so I'm just going to tell you it. Is that literally they created a robot for a human to fight in, and sort of showed Optimus Prime the idea behind it.
Oh, dude. So what you're really doing here is you're giving us a backdoor into Voltron. Like if
humans, my God,
you know what I mean? Like if humans are creating giant robots to fight inside, why not? Is that our third act twist?
It's kind of an entree into Macross, really, or Robotech for the
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, Ron, because now that I'm thinking, like, it's not almost, like it is kind of non-heroic and irresponsible for Optimus Prime to have these humans fight his fight with him for him. Like, don't bring that's a family issue. Don't bring it here. Like, I kind of wonder if there is some sort of human element, although it's like the problem is it comes in at hour 3 of a 4-hour thing. But it would be interesting if it's like you start to gear up like the humans to fight, and then you're like, no, you guys can't do this. Like this isn't your fight. This isn't right. We shouldn't even be fighting here. And that's when Megatron shows up and is like, I don't care, which I think they kind of did in those other movies, but he certainly had no problem finding Shia LaBeouf or Mark Wahlberg to help him fight something.
Well, that's why I wonder, in the grand tradition of like big epic movies, I'm literally thinking of the 10 Commandments. There's a legitimate intermission in that movie, and when you pick it up after the intermission, the status quo has changed, and now it's like Moses has a family living in the desert, and he's a completely different person. There is something to be said, especially in a nonstop action epic, if after the intermission, somewhere at the midpoint of this 4-hour movie, you just introduce some new characters. Lawrence of Arabia does the same thing. There's an intermission, and then new characters are just there and a part of the story when we come out of the intermission.
And I think that actually helps get us back to Cybertron, because I think if you have it, so it's just like Optimus is like, I'm going to get my army ready because they're going to come here, and then realizes like, I'm no better than them if I'm making these people do something that's for me that could cost them their lives, and it's not what they want. I have to get Megatron away from Earth. I got to get him out of here, and I'll have him follow me back to Cybertron, Then it becomes like, we can't bring the fight to Earth. This is wrong. I think that's the one part of those Transformers movies that always sits weird with me, is like Optimus kind of, waxes poetic about how he's like, we brought the fight to your planet and sorry. But he's like, but you keep doing it over and over and over. Leave. You can leave and go do this somewhere else, but you don't. So it's like
literally turn into a shuttle.
Right. I think the heroic thing for Optimus to do is to realize, like, I would rather lose my fight on my own than involve all these people who never signed up for this or shouldn't sign up for this.
I mean, and then if you, with my idea, if he's been talking with people on this planet and at first was trying to inspire them to fight and realizes that that turn. He could have had the conversation with someone about how they fight and how they think and et cetera, et cetera. And then when he gets back on Cybertron, that's the thing that puts him over the top. Because I would love if Megatron basically whoops Optimus Prime's butt every single time. But that last part where he discovers something within himself to not be as predictable. Like, for instance, maybe at this point, Megatron knows every move he makes every single time.
Oh, so you want Optimus Prime to learn the way of flowing water, or whatever the Bruce Lee.
I mean, basically, because I mean, as far as what you could think of human beings as unique, in what you can think of human beings as unique, it's our ability to like be random, to kind of flow off of anything that happens to us and survive and get a little bit better. And I think if the idea is we're instilling that idea within him and then also inspiring him to finally go fight away from other beings who are getting hurt in their war, sort of like we did with our He-Man thing, then we're then giving him a way to win. Humans are involved in that way. And
well, I think
little human involvement.
I'm piggybacking off of you because it's like if he goes to this alien planet in the first half of this thing, befriends them, they're like, we want to fight for your cause. They get wiped out. He goes to Earth, starts to do it again, and then realizes like, I can't wipe out another civilization. I already did this once. So he learns from it,
Right. And he has to smarten up his tactics. And in order to have our species not get destroyed, some Earth person could have a little baby star turn in 30 minutes of our 4-hour movie. It wouldn't hurt anybody to have him be like, okay, he has to rely on something that he knows from these people that he meets to do the Jeet Kune Do that Ron wants to do, but also to get some collaboration besides just Autobot people to make the Stargate or whatever, to plunge everybody through to get them back to Cybertron where they belong to have this fight. Like something that almost like magnetizes all the stupid Transformers and yanks their ass out of this reality into Cybertron so they can stop messing our place up. Like just some grand thing at one point to just get out of here. And
if you want to have the most insane fight of all time, you could. I mean, this probably is a terrible idea, and you should immediately turn me down when I say this. But I just going to say it because it popped into my head. At the end, what if they bring Cybertron to life, and then Cybertron fights Unicron along with everybody else fighting on top of
the planet becomes like Ego,
and there's like two giant planets fighting each other. I don't know. That's crazy, but I just pictured literally smaller Transformers running along another.
I don't hate it. I don't
because the defeat, the one thing we've set up here, frankly, is a classic Avengers situation where there's many more Decepticons, it seems, than Autobots. No matter how much you proselytize and hit people with a creation wand, there's only so many of you because you're refugees. They're the invading army. They're the Crusaders coming to teach you something. So you have to like get that together. So basically, when Cybertron, which comes back with this new knowledge of its people have went out on a walkabout and learned all these skills and fought, and came back with all this. They jack into Cybertron. He transforms and fights Unicron. And when he beats up Unicron getting knocked the hell out, messes with all the Decepticons for a big giant victory. Even though their numbers are small, they taught their planet how to fight, and that backed them up to win this war they've been losing for millennia.
Yes, and all I have to add to that is in that final battle, Optimus Prime and the other Autobots are piloting Cybertron like Power Rangers in the Megazord. So you have the giant robots in the pilot, in the head of the gianter robot.
Dude, and they could launch robots as weapons. They can launch missiles and robots in concert, so we can have them fighting across the surface of all that stuff. Let's get nuts.
Dude, I'm going to do you one better. The human star that we introduce at the midpoint, and I'm going to say we then kill off for our break into 3, right? The 30 minutes, 45 minutes in the movie, it's a human that is partnered with Optimus Prime and is teaching him, or even maybe it's a mad scientist who's experimenting on the Autobots to give them more abilities or what have you. But this guy dies after creating Robotech, Macross, like you said, Ed. This human is partnered with Optimus Prime and creates pilotable robots. And then Optimus Prime also learns that from him. So I'm just trying to find a way for like Optimus Prime gets the idea of piloting Cybertron and transforming Cybertron from this human who was like, well, if you guys can be giant fighting robots, I can make a giant fighting robot too. Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, even if he's just sketching out. Even if he's just sketching out the idea and building 3D models for it or whatever, and maybe we got a prototype or something. So there's a hint that we could do Macross down the line. But yeah, the concept of robots becoming bigger, better robots. And that maybe Optimus goes, hey, you 4 construction bots, I got an idea. And then they just jump up on each other and become like the Voltron things. You know what I mean? Like all that whole thing comes from people. And that way people get their little thing in without being central to the plot for 4 hours. That's kind of great.
Not bad. Do we want to kill Optimus Prime in the same way that the animated movie did?
I personally just want to jump in on this. I want to kill him in the 3rd act and have throughout the story been building up Rodimus Prime or Jazz or whoever.
Hot Rod.
Building up that character as a person where, they're the constant right-hand man, but they're just like Daryl, right? Daryl doesn't want to lead. He just shoots people with his crossbow and then jumps on his bike. And then,
This is where we go back to Gladiator, because essentially Hot Rod is going to be the Jimon Hansu character from Gladiator, where he's just sort of the sidekick through everything. But then when Russell Crowe dies, killing the Emperor in the final battle, you've got his buddy there to enjoy the freedom that Russell Crowe could never enjoy.
Yeah, that would be my only argument for I feel like you have to keep Optimus through the battle. I think he dies in the battle. But of course, I think we do it in a non-definitive way that we could always backtrack later if we want to.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think he does. Maybe not at the beginning of the 3rd act, but maybe acquiescing to that, Billy. The last battle is going to take probably most of an hour. So yeah, him dying at the end of that battle or as a big part of that to really win the day, and Rodimus plays his part too, and it's a great victory for everybody, but a loss, it's a bittersweet. I'm down with that.
Optimus just needs the grand operatic death of a Maximus or a William Wallace.
Yeah.
If those are our touchstones, let's take it all the way to completion, baby.
I've got one rule with this, and that's that I want to see Rodimus Prime cry 1 drop of oil.
If we're gonna do that, then we need gallons of oil being splashed across the screen like operatic blood during these battles.
Totally. Yeah. We're gonna get an
R rating
just for oil.
You remember Samurai Jack? You guys remember that cartoon?
Yeah.
That's what they did. They had it be super violent, but PG because he's killing robots.
And also, just really quickly, I don't want to sound like a super fan, but what I think my counterpart said in the other universe, the one thing I really remember was he was like, the paint job, or he said something about the paint job or like blah, blah. I think I would interpret that as make the design simple so that when they get injuries, the people can register them and feel for the robots. That's
100%. I think that was the old, there was a lot of criticisms, but I really like that 2007 Transformers. But when Jazz dies, I was like, oh, I thought he was a bad guy. I thought that was the other guy. I didn't realize that was Eddie Winslow's Transformer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
welcome to Jamal Warner in that original Transformers.
How dare you, Bill? Eddie Winslow is Darius McCrary, and you should know that.
Oh my God, I was thinking of Theo from the Cosby Show. Damn it.
Yeah.
What'd you turn into me for a second? What's happening?
But so basically, I'm feeling this, guys. That's a good direction, and we get some pathos from people, but not too much. Just a little.
How many times do we actually get what the fans probably want with take it super seriously? What if Transformers was Gladiator? It's like, here you go. This is what it would be.
What if Transformers was Braveheart? I mean, Braveheart meets Gladiator meets Ben-Hur. I mean, that's what this is. Meets Ten Commandments. That's literally what this Transformers movie is.
Oh, dude. I don't know if this is the most insane thing we've ever done or kind of brilliant. All right. So before we wrap it up, let's talk about, I mean, can we at least cast our two human characters? And do we want to voice cast anybody in particular? I think somebody in the Mirror universe was saying that Orson Welles was going to be in this. Wouldn't he be like 100?
He's very dead. I actually think the Transformers animated movie was his last ever performance of anything, which is nuts.
Maybe not in this new reality.
If we have to acquiesce, we'll just get a bunch of archive stuff and kind of Frankenbite it together so that Orson Welles from the grave voices Unicron or
From
something.
the grave.
Like Brando in Superman Returns.
So weird. But yeah, I look at this point. It's like, do you even try to voice cast like Peter Cullen for as Optimus, or you just like that's what it is?
I'm cool with that.
I think that's what it is. I can't, I can't with that.
Yeah. In the spirit of the quote unquote live action Lion King, we would probably end up having to bring in some big stars. But at this point, this is too crazy and unwieldy to even start thinking about who else is in this movie other than Optimus, Megatron, who Cybertron maybe has a voice, and Unicron, who I guess is going to be voiced by Orson Welles.
Dude, okay, I want to do my pitch for Cybertron as Russell Crowe. Unicron is somebody like Tony Todd. You know what I mean?
Fair. Does Mel Gibson get a role in this as a villain just to really drive
No,
home
he
the
should never work again.
Not unless he transforms into somebody else.
I got to be honest. I hear all that and agree with it, but a part of me is like, Mel Gibson would direct the hell out of this. All right.
Autobotica?
Yeah.
Autobotico.
Apocalypse Autobotica. Okay.
I was like, Ransom. Nope, he just was in that. I don't think he did.
What if Patrick Stewart is Megatron?
Dude,
I mean, sure.
If he was Optimus and it was Ransom, he'd be like, "You're not gonna get close to these energon cubes. I'm not gonna give them to you."
Who is he's such a good actor, and I'm so sorry. The only role I can think of off the top of my head is X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's Sabretooth.
Oh, Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. I think he'd be a good Megatron.
Oh, that guy's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, it would be a great Megatron.
Yeah, he would be awesome. He was the Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse, and that
he's
was
a lot of
great.
amazing things, and I'm so sorry that I picked the one thing that is a terrible movie.
Well, actually, I will say that while that is a terrible movie, I think he did as good as he could do with a character like that.
He's the highlight of an otherwise borderline unwatchable movie for sure.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to real quick cast the human character or characters? Like, who is our sacrificial lamb that's going to change Optimus's whole way of thinking? Essentially, kind of like de-zealotize Optimus Prime. Teach him to think outside the boundaries of his strict worldview. Who is that person? And it can't be Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man, it can't. Because the thing is, this character, honestly, bro, this character comes into Optimus Prime's life after a millennia of fighting. Right? He's got scars from the Cretaceous period. All right, and he's sitting down talking to this human, and this guy's going to break something down to him that changes his robot mind after all those years. That character has to have the gravitas to be able to do something like that. That's straight up.
Who is our generation's Tom Hanks? Because if this was 1994, I would say that role goes to Tom Hanks. He has the warmth, he has the conviction, he has the gravitas. You need that, like, I just trust this person so much that whatever comes out of their mouth is going to be the word of God, and it's going to literally deprogram this robot zealot so he can win his space war.
And also, just one quick thing. I think it's not untenable for that human character to also, in the course of the story, be like, I have run some numbers. I am smart. Maybe not as smart as a sentient computer from all over the place, but I'm pretty smart. And if you continue to be here and affect our stuff, you're going to mess up our whole evolution. And we're probably not going to last past like 2060 because you guys and your battles and your tsunamis all the time. We won't be able to sustain it.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Right. We just won't be able to sustain. Yeah. We won't be able to sustain our planet or anything, not just way of life period. So you guys got to get out of here. So I'm perfectly willing to help you get out of here. And I'll give you some philosophy to take with your ass. And he uses that to defeat the bad guys.
If Neil Tyson was an actor rather than a scientist, I would say him.
Well, he's a fictionalized version kind of somebody like that, but also let's think about it. Probably, would it be a technologist? I don't want to make a good billionaire technologist. I think that's
they don't have to be a billionaire.
Honestly, I think it's a professor. I think
that's true.
Yeah, it's an academic type. It's somebody who's like, and maybe it's a you can give him a little bit of a mad scientist twinge. Like it's somebody who's not, is too weird for academia. Maybe that's why. I mean, my mind immediately goes to like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, or even Jeff Goldblum in Independence Day. But
dude, he's the Indiana Jones of Transformers.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? So he's gathered the evidence. He's got his stuff together. He's an academic and an action guy.
Okay, this is Bill. You and I butted heads on this one before because I think we just see this actor differently. But what about like a Bryan Cranston? Because I know you have a hard time seeing past the villain in him, but I see the warmth in him a lot of times.
You watched Malcolm in the Middle, didn't you?
Of course I did.
I did too. No, listen, I don't hate that. I still love him as Tim Watley from Seinfeld. Who also was somewhat sinister, to be fair.
Yes.
But like, I don't hate that. It immediately gives me vibes of that not original, but that first Godzilla movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Monsterverse.
Yeah.
About that. He's the right choice for that type of role, right? It's that type of person. I mean, the role could also go to a woman. Let's not. I mean. Charlize Theron is too played out, but has sort of the presence that you would want. Oh man, there's good options here. It's
do you think Jodie Foster would do our Transformers movie?
I definitely don't think so.
Come on, what is she doing?
Come on.
Is Emily Blunt a swear jar at this point?
No, not at all.
No, and she's great.
That's
I think
I'm not a fan, but I won't step in the way.
I'm just thinking if she's in the mode of her in Murder, Death, Kill or whatever, I'll kill your ass tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. It's like all you need is kill was the Japanese name or something like that.
Anyway. Live, Die, Repeat was the
retitle.
The retitle, but I like Murder, Death, Kill a lot as a sequel title.
Hey, listen. Speaking of Murder, Death, Kill, what about Sandra Bullock?
Ooh, she definitely has Sandy.
She has the Tom Hanks level sort of charisma, gravitas, warmth. I could be interesting. Also, let me just throw this at you. What if we get Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves back together and do it a bit of a twofer, right? They're the two human leads. Sandy can die. Keanu can maybe survive. But I'm just trying to give this just another little spice. The reunion from Speed of Keanu and Sandra Bullock.
I feel like if anyone was to de-radicalize someone, it would be Keanu Reeves. He might be the only person on this planet capable.
Dude, Keanu and Sandy are in a bus that's transforming, and it's like, oh no! Oh man.
I mean, it's kind of interesting if Keanu is sort of like the spiritual guru and Sandy is kind of the technologist. And I don't know if they have a pre-existing relationship or if the Transformers bring them together. I mean, you might even say that they are like husband and wife. And so you get the extra added gut punch when Sandra Bullock dies. It's not only tragic to Optimus, it's tragic to Keanu.
I think you definitely do that, and then you have to do the homage where like they get off a bus, at some point, just as like a scene setting.
Keanu grabs the bus line thing, and he just flexes. and we see his muscle.
And then he takes off a layer of shirt.
Yeah, that was like from Speed. That was like my favorite part about Speed was just they would literally just zoom in on his bicep.
Well, no, but I'm just thinking seriously. The thing is, they were a couple. And they used to go on these adventures to go find this stuff that nobody even knew was there. They're doing the secret archaeology of the earth. And then they get too close and get their ass caught in a one of those situations where the documentarians get eaten. Let's just leave it at that. They get themselves caught in one of those and Sandy gets killed. And Homeboy's like, I shouldn't have been messing with this stuff that's beyond my kin. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but now I have to double down and dedicate myself to this so more people don't die in the wake of this secret war that's yada, yada, yada. And I think that gives him extra impetus he could be turned into a zealot that wants to kill the Autobots and Decepticons. But no, he understands that he cannot be like that. He has to change these people so that they change and thus their war changes. And he has also helped them get the hell out of here to their stupid Cybertron.
That's all happening in 45 minutes?
I don't know. Maybe he comes in. Maybe we just kind of split one of them in half. You know what I mean? One of the hours in half of what we thought it would be, like have a little shorter Manimal time. I mean, a little shorter Beast Wars time.
And you're also about to get lit up in the comments for fridging Sandra Bullock in that scenario.
Hey, you know what? I just think nobody would ever. She's going to show up for 2 weeks on set, get that fat paycheck and bounce. Nobody says no to that. And number two, you would never expect it. It's more Janet Leigh than fridging anybody. It's a grand tradition.
That's why I'm just trying to not have the whole subsequent story for Keanu. Like her dying needs to sort of be the end of their joint story as opposed to the impetus for him to go do things.
Can't they die together? Can't they die together? Holding hands, they should die together. Titanic couple.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think fine.
They die together.
That's the ultimate adventure. They've already goes down.
I absolutely agree with that. And the last act they do is turn on the get the hell out of the world machine. So they die saving the world and getting those fools the hell out of here to Cybertron to finish their goofy fight for the next 45 minutes. Yeah, I love that.
Yep. All right. Who's directing this thing? Were we all about to say a director before
I can't remember. I blocked it out.
Yeah, I think I blocked it out.
Well, who's directing?
Steven Spielberg.
No, it's not enough.
How was this? It's not enough. Oh, but you know what? In that, I gotta say, why couldn't we get 4 directors? And they each have their part, like a Sergio Leone, if he was alive, David Fincher in one of them, Orson Welles does one of them, and Michael Bay does one. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? The substance where it's like, this is the differentiation of each era. It still has the same sheen. We still produce the hell out of it, but it's got a little bit of difference in each era because it's through different lenses.
That's an interesting suggestion. I don't know how workable it is from a producing standpoint.
This whole thing is not workable from a producing standpoint. It's
We're giving the people what they want, baby.
4-hour Braveheart with no human characters. Why don't we just make it in black and white for the trifecta about the bomb? You know what I mean? So, like, if we're gonna get nuts, let's get nuts. I'm not gonna fight for it. I'm just saying, like, if we can't pick one. Picking one person is hard enough. So let's pick the person that we want to at least start the story. The person that's going to lay down the tracks for what this is and how it's supposed to look.
I mean, look, didn't we? I mean, we talked about Gladiator.
Yep.
Ridley Scott.
My mind goes there immediately.
Wait a minute. You're saying Jodie Foster won't show up for this, but Ridley Scott's like, sign me up for Transformers. Come on.
No.
If we're pieing in the sky, I'm going back to my Jodie Foster suggestion.
That I was literally about to say, my mind immediately goes to Ridley Scott, but the problem is I don't think Ridley Scott does a Transformers movie.
Especially if we're trying to sell him on, no, look, this is Gladiator, but with robots.
Okay, so here's I'm gonna fact check to make sure I get the name right. So yeah, here's one that I think they took something that is potentially goofy, or not goofy, but it's a little bit more lighthearted, and they gave a lot of gravitas to it. I'm gonna say Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, could be an interesting choice to do this. I know that there were a ton of reshoots on that movie and a lot of things changed. I don't think that was necessarily all him, though.
No, I like it. I mean, didn't Gareth Edwards also do Monsters, which was sort of a no-budget giant monster movie?
Yeah.
So he's got. For that matter, didn't Gareth Edwards also do the Bryan Cranston Godzilla?
He did. He did Godzilla. That's right. Yeah. But I was thinking mostly Rogue One, of just like someone taking a property that kind of has a little bit more fanciful fun to it, like Star Wars, and like really bringing the grit and that kind of angle to it.
No, I kind of love that. I'm one of the few people who thought that first Godzilla MonsterVerse movie had a really interesting style and tone. And I think it maybe wasn't perfect, but yeah, to your point, he is definitely somebody who can bring Durmstrang into an otherwise goofy property. He's proven that twice.
All right, I'm down with Gareth Edwards.
Ed, are you thinking of anybody else?
I'm down with him, but the only thing I'll say is I want somebody like how you wouldn't have expected Guillermo del Toro to do such a good job with the action elements of Pacific Rim, the weird parts, the slime. You totally trust him with that. You would totally trust him with maybe even building the mythos. But when he got to showing the robots fighting, it was really exciting. People like crap on that movie because it's so weird, but those parts were really cool. Just somebody with this action vocabulary. And I think somebody like Christopher McQuarrie, to me, I've never seen him do anything on this scale, but he shoots Tom Cruise jumping off of the Himalayas. And, he's a very visceral filmmaker. There's everything you can touch in his movies. It doesn't seem like there's a bunch of CGI crap all over the place. And I just feel like a Transformers with that feel would totally get it over. So when the Optimus holds his side as he's dying and leaking whatever at the end, it's not laughable, stupid crap. It's, oh my God, he's dying. I want somebody that can do that part. So yeah,
that's an interesting.
I like Christopher McQuarrie. I think I would have maybe been on the fence, but until Fallout. I think Fallout, the last Mission Impossible, was the one where it's like, oh, like you really you're evolving. I can see you getting better each time out with these. Oh
no, he proved his chops. He proved his chops on that movie.
And just the action locomotion. The one thing I didn't like about the very first Godzilla movie was it was like all the Godzilla action was happening on everybody's wristwatch. Hey, I'm going to watch Godzilla fight somebody on my wristwatch or on my television. I felt like there was a little bit too much of that jazz, but it wasn't bad. I'll give you that. If you guys want to go with that, I'd be totally super fine. I think it deserves another shot.
Okay, you know what I'm thinking now that you're talking about sort of the first Godzilla movie didn't quite get it right. I think a movie that did get that style right before that Godzilla movie was Matt Reeves' Cloverfield. And so I'm going to throw Matt Reeves out there, who's already done this exact thing with the Planet of the Apes franchise, to bring that sort of really dark, operatic tone to a loony sci-fi franchise.
And coming off of Batman.
I know that we're thinking about Matt Reeves as being very street level Batman, but Matt Reeves directed Cloverfield. Matt Reeves, I think, gets the scale of giant monster fighting.
No, I'm saying it's actually perfect for coming off of Batman. Like he's going to be hot. So,
but also he gets depicting a revolution. You know what I mean? I mean, he's done it before. I don't know that he gets it more than anybody else. I don't know anybody's heart, but you understand what I'm saying? He's done it before.
100%. And if Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan have taught us anything, it's that if you do a Batman movie, you're going to get a cult following to your next project. So at least we may have people that wouldn't normally watch a Transformers movie, but after Batman, they'll go see a Matt Reeves movie, which could work in our favor.
Yep. I completely agree with that. And God help us if we create the next Zack Snyder. But guys, I'm going to say it. We have achieved Reboot.
Yeah.
All right. Undead Robert Evans, give us your ears, because holy crap, do we have a pitch for you. We are telling a 4-hour action epic inspired by the likes of Braveheart, Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, and Gladiator, starring giant fighting robots, baby. From the beginning, we see the creation of Cybertron, and from Cybertron, the creation of its bastard offspring, Unicron. And with Unicron comes the religious conviction that cybernetic intelligence is the dominant species of the universe, and they will now spread across all planets to evolve technology to replace organic life. And the Autobots are the faction that do not want to be part of this war. So in hour one, we get the takeover of Cybertron by the Decepticons and Unicron, and the flight of Optimus and the Autobots. Kind, gentle farmer Optimus Prime. Hour two, they have established a secret society amongst an alien civilization. We get to see how Transformers integrate to totally alien technology until the Decepticons arrive and raze the planet to the ground. Now the Autobots flee again, and leading up to our intermission, they land on Earth, where they believe that they are finally free of the Decepticons. From the intermission, we fast forward. Optimus Prime is now allied with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves as an academic scientist couple who are teaching Optimus Prime a new way of thinking about his own biology, about his own mission. And not a moment too soon, because wouldn't you know it, the Decepticons have caught up. And in a globe-spanning battle, we see Optimus putting the lessons of Keanu and Sandy to work. We perhaps see some sort of early version of Robotech / Macross, where humans are piloting robots. And then after Keanu and Sandra Bullock heroically sacrifice themselves to send the Autobots back to Cybertron, we see Optimus and the Autobots activate Cybertron to transform the planet into a giant fighting robot to be piloted by Transformers, and having a space battle with a transformed Unicron. And so we have planet-scale robots fighting each other, and at the end, Optimus heroically dies at the hands of Megatron. Megatron also dies. We haven't quite figured that out. Setting up Hot Rod, who has been our sidekick character through all of this crazy action, to take up the mantle, much like, I forget Moses' sidekick in the Ten Commandments. But guys, we are 100% referencing old epics. That is the pitch. Mr. Evans, what do you think? Did I miss anything, guys? Did I miss anything?
It's epic, baby. It's worth your time for the first time, baby. I'm in love with it.
Bobby, tell us, are we greenlit?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I don't know what the hell you guys have done to your style. It's a huge downgrade. This is Hollywood. We want unique executives. Do you remember when Variety wrote an article calling me the Playboy dilettante studio executive? That made my career. It made my career. So first of all, go back to your old looks. They were much better. Second of all, I absolutely love this pitch. I cannot overstate it. I think the Matt Reeves choice, chef's kiss, reuniting Keanu and Sandy. You know, I produced that movie. I discovered Jan de Bont. I put him on it. I said, hey, bus at LAX, go to town. And he did. I know what I'm doing over there. So guys, let me congratulate you. You have a green light and a $273 million budget.
Yeah!
Oh, yes!
I can feed my cats wet food!
Ron's cats win!
Yeah!
Oh no. Why am I tingling? Why am I tingling?
Oh no!
What? We're not in that universe anymore, are we?
Oh no. What about the money?
What about the money?
Hey, don't you guys worry about money. We got plenty of money here. This is Bad Robot, baby. We got all the money you need.
What happened to Roland?
Roland made out great. I bought all of Roland's assets, so that includes whatever this weird Stargate thing is, you know? I kind of like it. It's a real mystery box.
Wait, so you just pulled us back through the Stargate?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was on. Well, what am I going to do? I'm not going to just leave it on. Strand you in another dimension. You're welcome. You're all very welcome. So listen. Roland says you're his development team. So let's get after it, huh? Maybe you got a pitch for us?
Oh, geez.
Sure. JJ, what do you want to do?